Hey guys, it's Kaylee, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm here to do a book haul. I've been picking up quite a lot of books recently, despite the fact that I'm not reading nearly as much as I was before I went back to work, but that doesn't stop me buying books. So I have a stack here of some physical books that I've bought over the last few weeks, and to be honest, most of them are non-fiction. I've really been getting back into non-fiction and reading a lot more of it, and a lot of the books I'm wanting and being drawn to picking up are non-fiction, so I'm just going with that flow. But I do have 3 fiction books as well to talk about, so I'm going to jump into the fiction first and I'll talk about the non-fiction at the end. So the first book that I picked up was The Bass Rock by Evie Wyld. This one I've seen just about everywhere at the moment. This one was recently released, I think, and I've never read any Evie Wyld before, but this one just sounded exactly like my sort of thing. So this is set in Scotland, which I'm really excited about. I definitely want to read more books set in Scotland and by Scottish writers. So I'm happy that this is set in Scotland. And it is told in 3 timelines, so it is historical. We have 2 historical timelines and 1 sort of present day timeline, and we follow 3 separate women. And I think the most historical timeline is set in the 1700s, and we follow a woman who I think is like accused of being a witch, and then we follow someone just after the Second World War who is I think just moved into this location. She's in a new house with a new husband, coming to terms with this community. And then the last timeline is I think maybe this woman's daughter or her granddaughter, and she is back at this house now which is deserted, and she's going through Ruth's things. So this sounds just exactly like my sort of historical fiction. I absolutely love the themes that this seems to be talking about, and I love like multiple timelines in books. So yeah, I'm really excited for this one, and I think I will absolutely love it. The next book that I decided to pick up was inspired by the Booktube Prize. So this is The Beekeeper of Aleppo by Christy Lefterry. So this one I think again is historical fiction, and it's set in Aleppo in Syria, and we follow a beekeeper and his wife, and I think that they have to flee Syria because of the war, and they end up going on a bit of a journey. So I think they travel through Turkey and Greece, and they're on their way to Britain, and obviously they encounter a lot of horrific events, and they go through quite a lot of trauma. So I think it's really about these 2 characters and how they deal with that. So yeah, this one sounds brilliant, and it's gotten, I think, right up to the quarterfinals, I think, in the Booktube Prize. So a lot of people really love this book, so I'm excited to see what I think of it. And then the last fiction book that I picked up won't be a surprise to any of you, and that is The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes by Suzanne Collins. So I have finally finished Mockingjay. It took me forever to finish the book after going back to work, but I finally gotten to the end of it. So I'm going to be picking this book up very soon. And yeah, I don't really need to speak about this much, but I'm excited to see what I think of it, because it's actually received quite a lot of mixed reviews. So yeah, I mean, I'm quite intrigued by the premise, like looking into Snow's character a lot more, so we'll see what I think of it, but I'm excited to have my hands on it now. So then into the non-fiction books that I picked up. I have 5 to talk about. So the first one, again inspired by the Booktube Prize, I think that's going to be a theme in this video, is The Heartbeat of Wounded Knee, Native America from 1890 to the Present by David Truer. So this one, from what I gather, is kind of quite an extensive history of the Native American people, but with sort of personal experience mixed in. So David Truer himself is a Native American. He is Ojibwe, and I think he talks in the beginning about the history of Native America, which is good for me because I have quite little knowledge about the subject, but then he also ties in his own experiences and stuff. And I think, I mean, obviously the book is referencing Bury My Heart at Wounded Knee, which I've not read, but I think after reading this I might go back and have a look at that book. And it's just a topic and a subject that I'm really interested to learn a lot more about. So yeah, I'm excited to have this book, and again, loads of people absolutely love it, and it got quite far in the Booktube Prize, so can't remember if it's still in the running, but yeah, lots of good recommendations for this one, so I'm excited to see what I think. The next book that I have is also from the Booktube Prize, so that is Sea People in Search of the Ancient Navigators of the Pacific by Christina Thompson. So I'm really, really excited to pick this one up. This is, it kind of says on the back that it's like a mix genre book, so it's like mixing history, geography, anthropology and the science of navigation. Sea People is a thrilling exploration of one of the most amazing adventures in human history. So this is looking at the history of the Polynesian islands and the Polynesian people, and it just sounds so fascinating. And again, like, I just really love non-fiction where I know I'm going to learn something, and again, I know very little about this area of the world, so I'm just fascinated to hear about these islands and how they were colonised and the history of the people there. So yeah, super excited to pick this one up. So I'm glad I've got my hands on it. The next book was a bit of a spontaneous purchase, but like I'd seen it like once I think on someone's channel, and then since then it just kept popping up everywhere. I feel like that just happens and it's a sign that you have to pick up the book, so I just bought it, and it was actually recommended to me in the comments of one of my more recent videos as well. So that is Don't Touch My Hair by Emma Dabiri. So this is kind of like Emma Dabiri talking about black people's hair and like Afro style hair and the prejudices against people with that type of hair, and I guess the racism geared towards their hair type and their texture. So yeah, it just sounds super interesting, and again I think it is this sort of part memoir, part history, which is just the exact sort of thing that I love. And I just think it's super interesting that she's going to talk about bigger issues like slavery, cultural appropriation, but through the means of talking about hair, which I just think is super fascinating, and I'm just really excited to pick this one up and try it, and I've only heard good things about it. The next one that I have, I've literally had on my TBR for years and I've never picked it up, but I read a book recently, I think it was Dominicana by Angie Cruz, and it referenced the assassination of Malcolm X in that book. And then I've also started watching the Netflix TV documentary, which I think is called Who Killed Malcolm X? So obviously the book is the autobiography of Malcolm X. Yeah, I've just wanted to read it for ages and I thought, why not pick it up now? So I think this will be really interesting as well after watching a couple of episodes of the TV show, because obviously that is not told from his perspective. Like, there's loads of people that he was involved with or people that have looked into him, like historians and stuff, but it's not from his perspective. And I think even just watching like a couple of episodes, I want to hear about him and his life in his own words. So that's why I'm super excited to pick this book up. And I just think it's going to be fascinating, and I just really want to learn more about him. So excited to finally have this. And then the last book that I have, again, I've had this on my TBR for ages and I've never picked it up. And I think it was on Kendra Winchester's channel. She talked about this recently because I think it was one, they read it for like one of the Reading Women monthly themes. And that is The Woman Warrior by Maxine Hong Kingston. So this is, from what I know, Maxine Hong Kingston talking about her childhood and like growing up in America surrounded by Chinese culture and Chinese like memory, and kind of having to live with these two cultures like battling, and then it kind of just explores her journey into womanhood. So from what I hear, this is like a classic feminist text, and to be honest I've not really read many of them, so I'm excited to try this, and I think that this will be a good place to start. So those are all of the books that I have picked up recently in the last few weeks. If you've read any of these books and you love them, please let me know why you love them and which one I should go to first, which ones that I should prioritise. And thank you so much for watching this video, and I will hopefully see you in my next one. Bye!